So during a press conference today, Nigel Farage has indicated which seats he intends to fully contest. This had originally been 600 of them, which was quite a few, since we only have 650. Why did I exaggerate the 50? Doesn't matter. He has since made an announcement that he intends instead to not stand candidates in the 317 seats that were won by the Conservatives at the 2017 general election, meaning his intention is to focus on taking seats off Labour. Now, there is a reason for that, and we'll get to it in a moment. It should be noted, he will not win any seats in Scotland, so there's no point, and he will have competition from Liberal Democrats. The perspective being, the Liberal Democrats will appeal towards those seats that voted Remain, that feel that Labour is dishonouring them. And the Brexit Party will go for those, as well as the seats that voted Leave, which is the majority of Labour's constituencies. Since they are a one-dimensional party on that particular issue, especially since their name is Brexit Party, they might have something. It is why they have been putting forward policies that are outside of Brexit and focusing on domestic as well, something which we will cover later on in the week. This has led many to believe, as this was only announced recently, that it's possible he has struck a deal with Boris Johnson. I think it's not that at all. I think he's doing it because if he can win any seats, his party has a considerable amount of legitimacy when it comes to leaving the EU. Meaning that if he won, let's say, 30 seats, which isn't bad to be honest, he would have a reasonable voice in the chamber, meaning any deal brought forward would be harder to get through unless it appeased what the Brexit Party want. A hard, clean break from the European Union. During his speech, Nigel Farage's that is, he indicated that Prime Minister Boris Johnson's commitment to strike a trade deal with the EU without regulatory alignment was a huge change in the Conservatives' approach to Brexit, because the original deal brought forward by Theresa May kept us in alignment, and we would have to obey any changes they made to that without a single say on them. And if we didn't, it would instead go to a panel, which would be half UK, half EU, and they would then decide if we had to obey it or not. Essentially meaning the UK government would have the equivalent to zero power, which was one of the many reasons why Theresa May's deal was voted down 3 times. It was such a bad deal. It's like trying to bribe a lion with jelly bean instead of a steak. Because he has admitted that the Conservatives have changed their approach, which I'm also quite happy with, although there are some holes in it that we should definitely address in a moment, it does mean people like James Cleverly, the Conservative Party chairman, has said that the Brexit Party have now recognised the risk of preventing a stable majority government. Should be pointed out, though, even if they win a majority, they will still need to work with other parties for other bits of legislation where their party themselves are not united. Brexit is actually one of them. It'll be interesting to see if the Conservatives do contest the seats and win the seats of those who had their whips removed or were expelled from the Conservative Party for whatever reason you can think of. Chances are they're not as imaginative as Keith Vaz with the cocaine rent boys. Now, the hole in the issue about the regulatory alignment in trade with the EU, this problem is one we should definitely address now, because it will lead to many, and Labour and Liberal Democrats will have to pounce on this, to speculate that perhaps we would lower our standards for the deal with Trump, which is the boogeyman of all of this. If we maintain our standards, which it should be pointed out, a lot of our standards are actually higher than the EU's anyway. If we are to relax ours too much, or any at all, which is any at all in fact, too much would be any at all. I'm mumbling. Then many would say we are compromising to work with America to get subpar goods and services. And they would sell for NHS, which is totally bad, even though Boris is committed to not. But Boris can't be trusted. The straw man has already been played. It'd be very interesting to see what happens going forward with regards to the Brexit Party. I do think they have the chance and potential to win some seats. How many, I'm not sure. It is best not to think they'll win hundreds. Expect the worst, but hope for the best. if you are a Brexit Party person, that is the mentality I would advise you have. I don't see the Liberal Democrats winning as many seats as they think, and I certainly don't think Labour are going to make many gains at all. Although the likelihood of a hung parliament is unlikely if the Labour Party don't now pounce on and tackle the anti-Semitism that is now absolutely all over the newspapers. Optics are important after all.